like another classic Michael Jackson performance, surrounded by screaming fans. But this time, Jackson's stage was the roof of an SUV outside the Santa Barbara County Courthouse. After nearly a decade of being suspected of child molestation, the King of Pop was about to face the music.
I was trying my best to get him down. I knew it wouldn't look right. I knew it wasn't appropriate.
Ben Brafman was one of Jackson's attorneys.
I recognized that, this is Michael Jackson. He's a 12-year-old superstar with thousands of people shrieking and screaming. He was trying to not affect the legal proceedings in any way. I think he was responding to his fans by at least showing them his face.
CNN's Jeffrey Toobin was in the courtroom.
This was certainly the most bizarre criminal trial I ever saw. Every day, Michael Jackson showed up in one of his Captain Crunch outfits, and he just didn't look like anyone else you'd ever met.
Michael Jackson was officially charged with 7 counts of child molestation and several other felonies. He pleaded not guilty.
The criminal charges were not a total surprise, because several years earlier, Jackson had settled a civil claim against him by a boy under very similar circumstances.
But Brafman says the superstar was terrified.
We were alone in a room, and it was the first time I really had an opportunity to be completely alone with him, because in all other meetings there were a whole entourage present. There were dozens of lawyers and bodyguards and assistants, and without warning he just broke down and began to sob, and we were sitting very close, and he actually collapsed on my shoulder, and he was sobbing.
It would take a year before a jury was seated and the trial began. The circus surrounding the trial seemed more than Jackson could bear. The superstar seemed to be fading in front of the world's eyes.
He was emaciated. He didn't exchange words with his lawyers very often. And as the trial progressed, he got weaker and weaker, including that one bizarre day when he called in sick, and the judge said, "Come in anyway," and Jackson showed up in court in his pajamas.
It was March 10th, the second day of testimony by Jackson's teenage accuser.
I feared for Michael Jackson. Not that the trial was going to end badly, but that something would happen to Michael. When I saw that spectacle, I realized that my concerns about his frailty, about his physical issues, and emotional instability were even more well-founded.
You take no comment.
It took a terrible toll.
No comment. Thomas Mesereau was Jackson's lead defense attorney, walking Jackson into the courtroom nearly every day.
I think this trial and this entire case took a terrible toll on him emotionally and physically.
Were you worried that he might not make it?
I was on occasion. Sometimes he would call me at 3 in the morning crying, terrified about what would happen to his children. On verdict day, he looked like death warmed over. It was just sad. His cheeks were sunken in. He could hardly smile. He looked horrible.
It was June 13, 2005. After more than 2 months of testimony, 135 witnesses, and 7 days of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. Followed by news helicopters and a convoy of cars, Jackson rushed from Neverland Ranch to the courthouse. He was greeted by a crush of reporters and fans. It was the kind of attention and screams he was accustomed to, but his face was expressionless.
The people of the state of California, plaintiff versus Michael Joe Jackson, defendant, not guilty of a lewd act upon a minor child.
With each not guilty verdict, the crowd outside cheered.
I just looked at him and hugged him and just said, thank you, thank you. He was very placid. He was very, very controlled. He sat there on a daily basis watching accusations hurled at him, suggesting that he was an insensitive monster, and I know that it tore him to pieces. He survived it with 14 acquittals, but was damage done to his soul, to his spirit, to his gentle, kind way of looking at the world? I suspect so.
Jackson eventually took their toll.
I was really struck by the razor stubble, all along his face. It was, he hadn't shaved that much.
Brian Monroe sat down with Michael Jackson in September 2007 for Ebony magazine. The interview would be Jackson's last.
The trials hurt him to the core. He felt betrayed. He felt almost abandoned, even though he was acquitted of the charges. And a lot of people sort of paint him with that brush, but realized he was found not guilty.
Jackson needed to put distance between him and the taint of Neverland. So off he went to the island nation of Bahrain.
Michael Jackson all but disappeared. And there's a lot of mysterious phases of Michael Jackson's career, but the last three are particularly mysterious. He moved to Bahrain with his kids, then moved back.
Bahrain and back again. The king of pop was now a king in debt. A lavish lifestyle and legal woes led him into near financial ruin.
After the trial, he had spent a lot of money on lawyers and had very little coming in. He wasn't touring, he wasn't making new records, and he had this towering $270 million debt.
And his beloved Neverland was toxic asset number one.
Neverland, which cost him around $19 million in 1987, had a staff of about 150 at its peak, and all these carnival rides, exotic animals which required full-time veterinary care. It cost him around $10 million to keep that up at its peak.
$10 million a year he could no longer afford, so an auction of his most personal items seemed like the answer, from his sequin glove to a life-size replica of Darth Vader made of Legos. Things ultimately Michael would not give up.
He backed out of the auction. So when you're selling your furniture to make money, it's like, yeah, it's not exactly a yard sale, but he definitely felt a dire need for cash.
Michael had another money-making trick up his sleeve.
I was looking at an old Rolling Stone article from a few years ago, and someone said, you'll really know that Michael Jackson is broke when he announces a big European tour. And that's what happened.
I'll be performing the songs my fans want to hear.
At the same time as he was announcing these shows, he also made sure to say that these were the final shows.
This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call.
That's not really a comeback when they said farewell. That was a very odd appearance that he felt it necessary to say this is the goodbye.
Fans wanted their last goodbye. Tickets sold out within hours. But some wondered whether he could pull off a strenuous 50-concert tour.
Wow, 50 dates. 50 dates at 50 years old? That's a lot of dates. And I was, and I kept saying, I just hope he gets a physical training. Someone to really work him out, to make sure he's healthy and prepared. It's hard looking at the guy being pushed around in a wheelchair, looking so thin and fragile. It's just very difficult to imagine that this is a guy who's ready to come back and do an amazing series of 50 concerts and then more across the world, which was the plan. It just didn't seem possible.
But Jackson was born to perform, and the show must go on.
I think he spent a lot of internal time reflecting on who he was, where he had been. And at the end, he talked about his mortality. He said that no one wants to be mortal. We all want to be immortal. The only way that you become immortal is that your work lives on.
Jackson, in his last interview with Ebony.
Well, let's face it. I mean, who wants mortality? I mean, you want immortality. You want what you create to live, be it sculpture or painting or music or composition. Like Michelangelo said, I know the creator will go, but his work survives. That is why to escape death.